Boo! Now that I got your attention, welcome to DiploNews, where we summarize and analyze international conflicts in an easily digestible way. My name's Ian Spitz, and I'll be your host this week. Let's go. In Iran, the ceasefire that has been ongoing since April 8th of this year has become way more unstable because Iran has opened fire on some oil tanker ships headed through the Strait of Hormuz. The international sea choke point that is responsible for nearly a fifth of all the world's oil and gas traffic. This is important because Donald Trump has stated on May 4th that the United States would begin an operation called Operation Project Freedom or Operation Freedom to escort tanker ships out of the Persian Gulf. If you're skeptical of me, I will read Donald Trump's tweet on May 4th before he retracted his statement. Countries from all over the world, almost all of which are not involved in the Middle Eastern dispute going on so visibly and violently for all to see, has asked the United States if we could help free up their ships, which are locked up in the Strait of Hormuz, or on something in which they have absolutely nothing to do with. They are merely neutral and innocent bystanders. For the good of Iran, the Middle East, and the United States, we have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so that they can be freely and ably get on with their business. Again, these ships are from areas of the world that are not in any way involved with that which is currently taking place in the Middle East. I have told my representatives to inform them that we will use the best efforts to get their ships and crews safely out of the strait. In all cases, they have said they will not be returning until the area becomes safe for navigation and everything else. This process, Project Freedom, will begin Monday morning, Middle East time. I am fully aware that my representatives are having very positive discussions with the country of Iran, and that these discussions could lead to something very positive for all. The ship movement is merely something meant to free up people, companies, and the countries that have done absolutely nothing wrong. They are victims of circumstance. This is humanitarian gesture on behalf of the United States, Middle Eastern countries, but in particular, the country of Iran. Many of these ships are running low on food and everything else necessary for large-scale crews to stay on board with a healthy and sanitary manner. I think it would go a long way in showing goodwill on behalf of all of those who have been fighting so strenuously over the last number of months. If, in any way, this humanitarian process is interfered with, that interference will, unfortunately, have to be dealt with forcefully. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. As around this script, there has been 2 confirmed U.S. tankers that have passed through the Hormuz under the protection of the United States Navy. However, the U.S. blockade on Iranian shipping is still in effect, as shown by the United States firing on an oil tanker flying the Iranian flag, according to the United States Central Command, or CENTCOM, or United States, or the command that oversees all American and allied activity in the Middle East. If you want to read the tweet, here you go. However, according to Reuters, Iran has fired upon several merchant ships, or civilian ships, not actively involved in the war, probably causing Trump to react to Operation Freedom, as it probably became obvious that it was not working as planned, even though Trump claims he retracted Operation Freedom because of peace negotiations. In response to the sanctions, the United States has fired upon some Iranian ships, according to Sky News. Why is this important? Again, even though there may be a ceasefire in effect, there's not really an actual ceasefire in the field, even if Trump claims there is. Sorry about the interruption, but if you made it this far, you probably like what I do. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, press the bell, and join the Discord to support a news outlet without an agenda and AI slot. My Discord is in the description. Anyways, back to geopolitics. Brent crude has been declining slightly ever since Operation Freedom was declared, and the potential of a proper Iran peace treaty was raised according to trading economics. Meanwhile, in the United States, an argument erupted on April 28th to May 1st in both chambers of the United States Congress regarding the War Powers Resolution, or the thing that restricts American presidents from waging forever wars like in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The reason why is because in the War Powers Resolution, any war started by the President must be brought to Congress for approval and a 60-day timer begins, which happens to be April 28th, 60 days after the war that kicked off this timer began. If the President gets approval for the war to continue, it's hunky-dory and he gets to continue a war. However, if the President fails to get approval from Congress within that time frame, he has to wrap up the war in 30 days or by the end of May in this case. Despite not getting approval by Congress, President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth have argued that because the ceasefire is technically in effect, actual hostilities haven't been active for 60 days. So therefore, the War Powers Resolution does not apply yet. If you don't believe me, here's what Pete Hegseth said.
I was asking about what's on the votes on Iran. Ultimately, I would defer to the White House and White House counsel on that. However, we are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire. They're not in. Yeah. It's our understanding, just so you know.
Okay. Well, I do not believe the statute would support that. I think
Congress is split mainly along party lines, with the Democrats almost unanimously saying, yeah, screw Trump, end the war. Although there is a debate in the Republican Party around the same thing, with the most notable person being Senate Majority Leader John Thune from South Dakota, saying that he will not vote on the issue unless other Republicans get their shit together and come up with a consensus. Alongside that, the Republican Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota has stated that he would vote for the war if Trump asked for it, but otherwise didn't comment much on it. Despite the obvious debate happening in Congress, there has not been a notable vote on the issue despite Democrat disapproval of the war. If we use ICD-203, the United States Official Community Directive, and Gold Standard for Certainty, I have judged the war ending in late May to early June at about a likely, because Pete Hegseth never said the 60-day clock restarts the minute the ceasefire ends, but, quote, the 60-day clock pauses or stops. If he said that the 60-day clock ends and restarts back to day one, I will put the chances of the war ending in late May to early June would be roughly even. However, he didn't. In the Lebanon front, however, Israel has attacked Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, for the first time since the ceasefire began on April 16th, effectively ending the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire as we know it. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, there is potential for a ceasefire on the night of May 8th to 9th, starting at 12 a.m. local time. However, on May 5th and 6th, Russia has took Zaporizhzhia, Dnipro, and Kramatorsk, which are shown with red dots on the map. Alongside that, according to BBC, Russia airstruck a Ukrainian kindergarten school, severely upsetting President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, who called it a cynical terrorist strike. My sources document is my description, so if you're curious where I got this information or you want to read, it will be there. If you're one of the people that actually finishes watching these videos, leave a B emoji in the comments, and I will heart it as soon as I see it. Also, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and press the bell to join my Discord, which I will also have linked in my description.